I tell him we love him and we know he's with God and that we will not forget him or the joy that he's brought to us.
Was there ever a moment that you thought that if something went down, if your son needed these friends, that the loyalty would be questionable because he was the only black person in this circle that he was in this day?
This is the thing, regardless of the color of anyone's skin, your hope is that the people your children call friends will be there. Like that is any parent's hope, right?
What do you make of the explanation that it was because of a pump malfunction that they left?
I would not leave anyone else's child on an island. I would not leave anyone else's child stranded. You can give all the excuses you want, but you do not leave someone else's child anywhere.
You started to talk about Nolan and you said was, and then you corrected yourself and said is.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Still early in grief, right? So we're kind of back and forth. Before we came here, it was our youngest looks just like him. So just calling him Nolan and just still feeling his presence. So he may not physically be here, but he's still here with us. I would not be able to sleep at night. I mean, I can't right now, definitely we can't, but I definitely would not be able to, knowing that I didn't do everything as his mother to ensure that I knew what happened to him. And that's all we're asking for, is we're asking for answers.
We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home.
We have the honor and the privilege of helping to lead an independent investigation on behalf of the family of Nolan Wells. Why do you say we need to be retained to lead an independent investigation? It is because the family has distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials giving them a fair investigation where their black son ended up dead after going out on a boat with 3 young white men. The history of Mississippi is something that they don't just read about in books, but it's a lived experience for many black Americans.
He was a special kid, but again, just heart was so big. And we're gonna miss him dearly. We just want to know. We want an honest, thorough investigation. That's all we're asking for.
Do you think race might be a factor?
Like my wife said, I don't want to believe that, but it's just it's so many things have happened, and so many things have been swept under the rug. Like I said, Nolan didn't see color. He saw people for who they are, and I used to always tell him, "So you need to go out there close, because everyone is not going to reciprocate that same love that you give." I just want transparency. I just want to know what happened to my son.
Christine, why does that make you so emotional?
Because he just had a big heart. Like, to really know Nolan, to have him as your friend it was something special. People aren't like him. He was just different. And
Do you worry that he might have trusted too much?
sometimes, yeah. And that was something we always talked to him about.
Let me tell you how this investigation is going to end. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI. This is Nolan Wells. He went out to an island with 3 of his friends back on the 4th of July, never came back, and was found dead later. Nolan is a recent high school graduate. He is an athlete. He's going to college, and I think he's playing football at college. He's a very athletic dude, which you can see here. On July 4th, he goes out with some of his friends out to an island. The friends that he went out to the island with came home, but Nolan did not, and a couple of days later, he was found deceased. The investigators in this case have said that he was found in the water, face down, wearing the swimsuit that he was last seen in. He has had an autopsy, but those results have not been made public because they are waiting for the toxicology. But police have said there is no indication of foul play, which means there's no external or overt signs of trauma to his body, including internal signs of trauma because he's already had his autopsy, but they are waiting for toxicology results. And although he is underage, you can see that his friends are drinking in this picture. Those Michelob Ultras that they have there, and I think this might be a can of beer that Nolan has in his hands. Now, his friends left the island and they said that Nolan was staying back to talk with a girl, but the girl says that he was going to go back to the mainland on the boat with his friends. Obviously, this is a contradiction, but it might also be a miscommunication. This is a holiday weekend. A lot of people go out there, and volunteers who were searching saying it's not uncommon for people to kind of ferry each other back and forth to the island. So it's totally possible, I think, that somebody would say, oh, I'm going to get a ride home with X person, and there could be a little bit of a miscommunication about that. Now, there's also an issue about Nolan's cell phone. His parents were able to locate his cell phone back on land. I think they tracked him via Life 360 and also his Snapchat location. Now, the family's attorney is noting that Nolan's parents were able to find the phone before the police did. This is not suspicious. This makes perfect sense because Nolan's parents could very easily open their Life 360 app and find his phone immediately. Police would have to get a search warrant to do that. Sometimes we are able to track somebody's cell phone without a search warrant if we think they're in imminent danger, but there's still a process that we have to go through. It is odd that the cell phone was with his friends and not with him. But remember, they all came to this island together on a boat. And if your boat is anchored offshore and you're swimming into the island or you're walking into the island, you might leave your cell phone on the boat so it doesn't get wet. So if Nolan doesn't come back on the boat and his phone is on the boat and his friends take the boat back, then they're taking his phone back, which is a problem because now Nolan is on the island with no phone. And this island is not like a place where you can pop into a restaurant and call mom and dad and say, hey, there was a miscommunication and I got left behind. This is just an island. There ain't nothing out there. So if there's a miscommunication and your friends leave and you don't have your phone, what are you gonna do? Well, you might try to swim. And you might think, similarly to the family's attorney, that a strong athlete who knows how to swim would be fine. But even if you are a strong athlete, if you've been drinking even a little bit, and you get into open water and you start an open water swim, you're going to get tired very, very quickly. And you could get caught in a riptide and there's powerful currents out there. But it was 4th of July weekend and there are a lot of people out there. So if Nolan was trying to swim back to the mainland or if he was swimming after his friends on the boat, wouldn't somebody have heard him drowning? Probably not. Honestly, we often talk about drowning as a silent killer because in the movies you think people are gonna go like, help, help, wave their hands and thrash around. But in reality, that just doesn't happen. You get tired and you just kind of quietly go under. I mean, truly and genuinely, you could be sitting on the side of the pool and somebody in the pool could be drowning and you wouldn't notice it. That's why lifeguards are always out there walking around looking like crazy. So when there are no obvious signs of trauma to the body and the body is found in water, we're obviously thinking drowning. But cause and manner of death are not yet finalized. They're not yet public because we've talked about this before. You gotta wait for toxicology. That usually takes weeks. In my years working as a CSI, I definitely developed a crime scene spidey sense. When you tell me a teenager went out on a boat with his friends and didn't come back, and they were out, hanging out, drinking, partying, the first thing my mind goes to is accidental drowning. I'm gonna go out there with an open mind. I hope the investigators in this case did as well, because it could always be something else. But given the circumstances in this case, and the absence of physical trauma, drowning is obviously the most likely. Drowning does not have to be accidental. Certainly there are homicidal drownings, that happens. Given this person's age and athleticism, if they were drowned by another person, I would expect to see some injuries from a struggle. Obviously, this investigation is just at the beginning stages, and police in the area are asking for information for people who were in the area who might have photos or videos, and Nolan's family is asking for the same. But if I was a betting lady, I would say in a couple of weeks you're going to see a news article saying that his official cause and manner of death has been ruled as accidental drowning and the case is going to be closed by law enforcement.